Hi, I'm Kaden.
And how old are you, Kaden?
10. Hi, I'm Olivia, and I'm 6. Hi, my name is Cooper. I am 8.
Okay, Kaden's gonna take the camera, point it at me. So, hello everyone. My name is Shari Bakker. My husband and I own, this is what we call our CCO farm. So it's named after our kids, Kaden, Cooper, and Olivia. So we actually have 2 operations up in Dike, Iowa. So we're in northeast Iowa outside of Waterloo and Cedar Falls. We have 2 different operations. One is our wean to finish farm, and that's where we're at today. And then we also have a show pig operation with about 50 sows, where we sell show pigs to kids all across the country to go to jackpots and county fairs and state fairs and national shows. So today we're going to tour our wean to finish building. So this building actually has about 2,400 pigs in it. There are 2 different rooms with the office in the middle. So each room has about 1,200 pigs in it. So these pigs come to us when they're little, and we're going to go inside the barn and show you a few things. But while we're outside, I want to show you just a couple things. So Kaden's going to follow me. Keep it up. Okay. So keep it up. You're going to follow me. So guys, as we look at the building, Kaden, point it this way. You can see, back up. Can you see the whole building? How big these buildings are. So our building sits on about 3 acres of land. And for those of you who don't know, 1 acre equals about the size of a football field. So this whole thing covers about 3 acres of land. Like I said earlier, there are 2 rooms, so each side has a room. You can see over here 1, and then the middle has a chute, and then the other room is on the other side. Now, while we're outside, I want to show you a few things. First up are the feed bins. So if we get up closer, you can see one of these bins is empty, and one of them has feed in it. So the feed truck will come later today and fill the empty bin. But for now, you can see the ground corn in the bottom. That's called the boot of the feed bin. And those tubes, those white tubes that you can see, take the feed inside the building and then inside each of the rooms and puts feed directly into the feeders that we'll see here in a little bit. On the outside, you can also see we have these big fans running. So that keeps clean, fresh air inside the buildings. It brings some of the dust and some of the bad particles back out and lets fresh air stay in the building so the pigs can stay as healthy as they can. You can also see over here LP tanks. So that's how we run our heaters. So you'll run the heaters in the winter when they need them, and then on these chilly days as well. So in the middle of the building, you can see our loading chute. So when pigs come in and out, the truck will back up to this chute, and then they'll get unloaded onto the ramp and come on into the building. So we're going to start going inside and show you a few things. Now, everybody's home and you're probably learning online and missing your teachers and your friends. So a few things that I wanted to point out today is how similar what we call biosecurity is to what you're doing for coronavirus. So on our hog farm, we make sure that we try and keep diseases out and we keep our pigs as healthy as we can. So there are a few things that we do to make sure that the pigs stay as healthy as they can. So the first thing is that when we come over here, we come in this door of the building normally. Now we've already got our dirty shoes on, so we're going to go up the ramp. But when we would normally come in here to do chores, you can see our clean shoes are sitting outside the door. We would come in this side. We would put on another pair of different shoes to walk into the office. And then once we get in the office, we would change into our boots, like what I'm wearing now. And these are the shoes that I actually go into the building with. Now, there's a couple reasons that we do that. So the biggest one is so that we keep germs out. So if I wear my tennis shoes into the grocery store or into the co-op where I get feed, there could be other people there that have pigs that have brought manure or something on their shoes into that co-op. And I don't want to bring that right back into my barns and risk getting my pigs sick. So by changing shoes and going in and out of a different door, we minimize some of those germs getting into our buildings. Cooper and Olivia. Okay, so like I said, we already have our dirty shoes on and our dirty clothes. So I'm actually going to take you in through the ramp. So Kaden can go ahead and point it forward. So this is the loading chute, and this is where pigs would come in and out. And then this is the inside of our building. All right, so we would come in here, pan over here, and you can see that's the other door. Come in. We come down this aisle. You can see that we change into a second pair of shoes. And once we get in here, then we would come to the office and put on a different pair of shoes. So quickly while we're in here, I wanted to show you a few things. So this is kind of the hub or the superintendent's or the principal's office like at your school. So make sure they can see. Okay, so in here controls everything from the temperature to the feed lines. This is where we keep all of our clean and dirty clothes. So once we come in here, we would change into our chore clothes, change into our chore boots, the things that have been in the building before, and then we to go check on the pigs. So the first thing I want to show you is the control panels. So from in here, I'm able to see on this screen, can you see? Clear up at the top. You can see it's 73.7 degrees inside the building. You can also see all of the lights for the different functions that we can control. So those fans we talked about earlier, we can control the fans. If we think it's getting too stuffy in there and they need fresh air, we can flip a switch and turn the fans on. Over here is our feed system, so I can turn the feeders on and off. Usually those feeders are kept on and the pigs have full feed all times. I've actually shut them off for right now because when they come on, the pigs can get a little loud and I didn't want them getting noisy for you guys. So you can also see on our desk, every day when we come in here and do chores, we have sheets like this where whoever's doing chores will initial and then they check for all the pigs having feed, all the pigs having water, were they healthy, and then how many pigs we have in the room total. You can also see that if we treated something with medicine, we would put it down in here and mark that we treated something so that we can keep track of those pigs and give the vet a call if something would happen. Now, pig farmers are very careful about treating sick pigs and making sure that they stay healthy all the time. So the first thing that we would do is call our vet and describe to him the symptoms. It's very similar to what you guys would do with your doctor's office. You might call them, let them know you're sick, and they might give your mom some advice about Tylenol or things like that. So pig farmers have just a few medicines that we can give pigs that would do things like what Tylenol or Motrin would do for you guys. And then if it's anything more serious, the vet would come out to our pig barns and tell us something that we can do to help that pig and make it healthier. So one other thing I wanted to show you while we're in here, we are a wean to finish building. So what that means is we get the pigs when they're 3 weeks old. So they come into our barn at about maybe 15 pounds each and they're 3 weeks old. So it's when they've just left their mommy. So when they're that little, they really need heat. So we keep their rooms at about 80 degrees, maybe even 82 degrees, especially during the winter. And then we do a couple other things to keep them warm. So we put mats down on the ground so it keeps them nice and toasty and they have somewhere to lay. And then we use what we call a heat lamp. So this is a heat lamp. It hangs from the ceiling and stays probably about 2 feet off the ground. A bulb goes inside of it. Hey, a bulb goes inside of it, which keeps it hot and then warms the pigs up. So it's kind of like if you guys had a heating blanket or if you sat next to a heater at a tailgate, that would be similar. So we hang these in all the pigs' pens until they get a few more weeks old and they're able to hold their own body temperature and keep themselves warm. So the pigs we're going to go in and see right now have been here in our barn since November. So it takes about 6 months, sometimes a little bit less, for the pigs to grow from weaning age when we get them to the time when they would get to go to market to become bacon and Easter hams for you guys. So we're going to go in here and I'm going to show you some pigs. And if it gets a little loud, just let me know. So Caden's going to scan over and show you. Sometimes they'll jump right away when we come in here. All right. So these pigs are ready to go to market. In fact, this room, we've actually loaded 2 loads to go to market the last couple weeks to make you guys' Easter hams and bacon and all the goodies that you guys like to have. So the first thing I'm going to show you in here if I can climb over the gate, is the feeders. So these guys are on full feed like we talked, just stay there. Full feed like we talked about. So you can see they always have access to clean, fresh feed. Remember those white tubes that we talked about? It comes in these white tubes and it runs down here and it fills their feeder. So what these pigs are eating is ground corn. It's got soybean meal and it's got about a 16% level of protein. So it's got all the nutrients that they need to grow big and healthy and strong. The pigs also have constant access to fresh water. So you can see the waters down here. They push on what's called a nipple. It's a nipple water and a cup water. They push that and it gives them access to clean, fresh water whenever they want it. There are, 4 of these waters in every single pen. So we'll walk down and show you guys some more pigs as we're in here. So these pigs, because they're bigger and they're ready to go to market, they kind of hold their own body temperature, and so we don't have to keep the heat up as high. So it's about 72 degrees in here. But if you remember when we first started and we saw the curtains outside, so the walls are not solid walls. What those are is called curtains. So as it would get hotter, like the other day when it was 80 degrees and everybody was swimming, those curtains will automatically drop down to keep the temperature where it needs to be. So right now they're up because it's only about 40 degrees outside and we want to keep our pigs healthy and happy. So we keep it nice and warm in here. But if it would get hot today and it would get too hot inside the building, because of our systems that you saw in the office, those will automatically drop and it'll cool down in the building, or they'll come back up when it gets colder so that they stay, again, happy and healthy. So we get a lot of questions about why pigs are raised indoors now and not outdoors. So that's one of the biggest reasons, is so that we can always keep them. In Iowa, we know 3 days ago it was 80 degrees. Today the high is going to be 40 or 50. So by keeping them inside like this, we're able to keep them warm and healthy and happy with constant feed and water all the time instead of them being outside. So the cool thing about pigs is that they don't have sweat glands. So when it was 80 degrees, had they been outside without any shelter, pigs aren't able to sweat. So what do you think they do to cool down? Probably what you think of pigs a lot is that they roll in the mud, but there's a reason they do that. So if they're outside, they might roll in the mud, or in here, a lot of times they'll run their waters and lay in some water because they can't sweat to cool down. So they have to do something else to control their body temperature. That's kind of an interesting fact about pigs that not a lot of people know. So these guys are about 270 or 80 pounds. You can see they're getting big and tall. They would be what we call crossbreds. So they are a mixture of 2 different breeds of pigs. And they come to us from a farm in Illinois. Like I said, they came here in about November. And it's now April. Sorry, I had to think if it was May or April. It's April now. And so they're getting ready to go to market. So they're about 5.5 months old because they're 3 weeks when they come to us, again, if you missed that. So I'm going to take you into the other room quickly. So the other room is about a month behind this room. So they're a month younger and they came to us in December. So they're a little bit smaller. Good. That's good. And then we'll go in the other room and you guys can ask some questions if you want. So you can see in these pens when it would be full, there's about 40 to 50 pigs in each pen, and they have plenty of space to lay down and move around and get to the feeders and get up and take a break and get away from other pigs if they want to. Pigs are naturally herd animals, so they like to kind of pile on each other and play, but then they also like to have a little bit of their own space. You can see that we have 2 separate rooms. Now that's for a reason, because if something would happen in one room, would get a little bit sick or a cough or be a different size, like what we talked about, we like to have separation between the two rooms, and again, use our biosecurity so that we can make sure all 2,400 pigs don't get sick and we contain it to an area. So it's, again, similar to what they're doing in hospitals, how we're staying home, self-isolating. We keep ourselves happy and healthy by not introducing other germs. So Caden will scan kind of over. You can see we try and keep the pins all to pigs that are about the same size, same weight, same age. And when they come to us off the truck, we sort them by size and by weight, and we try and make sure that they stay about the same together the whole time. Now, the exception would be if I'm walking through here on a given day and I see something that's sick, I might go in, get the pig out, and then I would bring it down to what we would call our sick pen. And then we would write down which pig we treated, what we treated it with, and those pigs would stay down here in a sick pen so that we know that we gave that pig medicine. So farmers are very, very careful to make sure that we follow what we call withdrawal times. So any medication that we would ever give a pig has a label on it. On that label, it tells us a withdrawal time. What that means is that there's a certain number of days between when I can give that pig some medicine and when it can go to market to become meat for you. So the FDA and the USDA have researched and found that within, say, 30 days, if that's the withdrawal period, all of that medication is out of the pig's system and the meat is, again, safe to eat. There's absolutely no medication, no antibiotics, no additional hormones in the meat because we follow those withdrawal times very seriously. That's why we move those pigs into one pen, and then we can track when we've given it to them in our book that I showed you earlier, and we make sure that all of your food is completely safe before it gets put to your plate into the grocery store. So I'm actually going to flip the screen, and I'm going to let Caden answer a few questions because I'm guessing that we're getting toward our time. All right, Caden, tell us, can you tell us what's a girl pig called?
What?
What's a girl pig called?
A girl pig that has not had babies yet is called a gilt. And a girl pig that has had babies is called a sow.
So what's about boys?
Boy pigs. A boy pig that cannot have babies is called a barrow. And a boy pig that can have babies is a boar.
Yep. So on this farm, we don't have sows and we don't have the really little babies. So on our show pig operation, we do what's called farrow to finish. So farrowing is what it's called when the sows have babies. And then weaning is when the babies are old enough to go off their mother's milk and go on to regular feed. So we get these pigs when they're weaned, so they're brought over to us. All right, so Caden, what's your favorite part about having pigs?
These pigs, I just like playing with them. And then, like, our show pigs, I love showing them.
Yeah. So does anybody have questions you want to ask Caden? So in this room, there's about 1,200 pigs, and they're eating the same feed that we saw in the other room, same feeders and same waters. And you can see they're all up and active. They have plenty of space to move around. You can see the heaters for when it's winter and it needs to warm up in here. And then we also have fans throughout the room to cool them down if they would get too hot. You can hear them being loud and messing with the feeders in there too. Where is your favorite place to show, Katie? Logan's mom wants to know.
The Exposition is a show in Indiana.
It's in Indiana now. All right, guys. So if there's no more questions, I think we will sign off. We've shown you our pig farm. I hope you enjoyed it and enjoyed seeing the pigs and learning about what we do here. Can you say bye? Bye. Bye.